keep saying WA is an extraordinary place, and we've got an extraordinary collection here. We're very much at the cutting edge of discovery here.
You might have noticed the Welshpool warehouse, but I bet you don't know what's inside.
If you live here, you probably take some of this for granted, but I don't take it for granted at all. I think this is just an extraordinary place.
A treasure trove of the weird and wonderful, pretty much Western Australia's entire history. But sadly, it's all stored away from public view.
People probably just don't know it's here, but it is here, and it's a fantastic resource.
WA Museum Chief Alec Coles took us on a warehouse tour. He's campaigning for a new museum to show off some of the 4 million items that are stored here.
We've been not building the new museum for the last 15 years. We've really got to take a hold of it now, and we really need to build commitment.
Everywhere you look, so many stories. An old cash register from Bowen's in the city. This was the top-of-the-range colour TV back in 1975. Horses from a merry-go-round down in Fremantle in the 1920s. And imagine doing your washing in this. Well, this is how they did it in the early 1960s. And that's just the beginning. This is the bike cycling legend Hubert Opperman rode from Perth to Sydney in 1937. This homemade canoe, built 100 years ago, was paddled on the Swan River at Guildford. And there's the country's biggest collection of childhood history.
This is a fantastic homemade rocking horse made by Warrant Officer Ray Fraser during the Second World War for his 4-year-old daughter.
It was made out of wood from US Navy packing crates.
A fantastic example of making do in times of shortage.
Here's the 4-year-old Nedlands girl it was built for, and here she is with her father who made it.
Well, welcome to the Anthropology Department's Aboriginal Cultures collections.
This collection dates back to 1830, a vital part of our Indigenous culture. Valuable artwork, drawers of boab nuts, wooden sandals worn across the desert 100 years ago. Wow, that's quite a helicopter.
It's magnificent, isn't it?
It was a community art project in Fitzroy Crossing. And the emu export cans, that's a nice touch.
They're particularly common in the community there, I believe. They said that when the Geological Survey flew over, they thought there was a magnetic anomaly at Fitzroy Crossing because of the number of cans that were in the dumps. So they thought, what a wonderful thing to do to incorporate that into this particular object.
So it would be a lot bigger with the rotors on, wouldn't it?
Yes, they're about 4 metres across.
Then there are living things. What on earth is this?
It's a spicule, which is a glass rod made by a deep sea sponge.
Found by a West Australian oil rig worker deep beneath the South China Sea and carefully brought to the surface.
This is a bit of the sponge body here, and it's secreted over hundreds of years, this anchoring rod.
No one quite knows how or why.
The biggest one in the world has been reported at 1 metre long.
Well, that's got to be about 2 metres because it's taller than me.
Yeah.
There's the world's biggest conch shell and a new species of sea star found off Broome.
We've got an incredible number of species here that are actually the first ones ever named of their kind.
These cupboards alone are filled with rare and exotic bees, 800 different species in all. Why the fascination with bees?
Because they're such busy animals leading such complex lives, and they're just so intriguing and so full of surprises.
Surprises like this rare fella.
This is the only specimen known of this particular native bee.
Found on Rottnest Island in 1938.
And it hasn't been seen since.
To be honest, I didn't realise they came in so many colours.
We have some beautiful green specimens from southwestern Australia, some lovely yellow banded ones from our desert regions, and just about every other colour in the spectrum.
Inside the plastic bags is probably the biggest reason Perth's crying out for a new museum.
It's not inappropriate that we're standing here next to the blue whale skull, which is surely the most iconic object from the old museum site.
Here's what the 24-metre skeleton used to look like in all its glory. But like the football stadium and the foreshore development, don't expect things to move quickly. The museum boss says a new building is still 7 years away.
And I know for those people who have been waiting for the last 15 years, that's very frustrating. But I think that's where we are, and that's what we have to deal with.